The way we would like the world to work based on the way that we were raised to understand life is that when I tell my partner, hey, you're leaving dirty washing on the floor when there's a dirty washing basket, could you just pick it up and put it in there? That he would respond, wow, I love you, I respect you, I want to make you happy, and you are totally right. I will absolutely do what you have just requested of me. And his behavior would immediately change, the house would be tidier, everyone would be happier, and love would be boosted. Now, this is the sort of perception of how life works that most relationship coaches are emphasizing and encouraging. And unfortunately, for most people, there's a hard way to find out that that's actually not how life works. Verbal agreements and logical sense making is not how relationships tend to function. There's so much more going on. And rather than look into personal individual stories related to trauma and the roots of our dysfunction, my perspective prefers to emphasize that this is all energy. The words we use, the verbal agreements, the rational understandings we can both agree to acknowledge or abide by don't mean much, because underneath the breath in our lungs and the blood flow in our veins, there is a current of energy moving everything and deciding really before our thoughts and before our emotions. And underneath the stories we identify with, there is a flow of wordless, formless energy, which is actually what is directing life decisions and ultimately relationship dynamics. If you're not attuned to that, if you don't see that's not part of your worldview, you may well think that relationships can be handled very simply. There's a right and a wrong thing to do or say, and there's a good and a bad way to behave. And unfortunately, it's actually women who are most harmed by this perspective. Women who feel that they know how to do the right thing and that has served them in certain areas of life, particularly business and work, school. They are high achieving, they are accomplished, they can get stuff done out there in the world, but when it comes to relationships, it's tricky because guess what? People don't just do what they're told or what makes sense. And there's much more to it. So if it's energy that underlies all of this, the simple way I would describe why your partner doesn't pick up his dirty washing and put it into the basket is inner patterning, inner energetic structures. And you have inner energetic patterning and structures too. And no relationship in your life is independent from your internal structures. Your inner patterning, your energetic structure and aura defines the experience you're going to have. So there are many so-called reasons why he is unable to follow this instruction and meet this agreement. And there are many approaches of finger pointing that I would sway you from. I would say instead, what is it that this is showing you about yourself, your identity, the way you take life to work, and who you think you are? Operating this way is the end of nagging, the end of external request, or waiting for the outside to change. Acknowledging that your inner state is defining everything that happens around you means that you can take responsibility in every relationship, not because you're the one who cares more, not because you're the one who has to put in effort, no, because independent of male, female situation as a human, each individual person is responsible for what goes on around them because it's a reflection of their inner state and their energy, and it cannot be different. So the more you define the world as working in a certain way, where men are like this and women are like that, and relationships should be held to any certain standard. Behavior should be morally fitting within these categories and boxes. I just feel for you because you're giving yourself a lot of mental focus, and I see how you're not getting the results because you want love, you want intimacy, you want connection and closeness. And these modes of operating, even if they pay off in the short term or for specific things, they're not a path to peace, they're not a path to love or to joy. For all those things, you got to actually imbue yourself with that inner energy and state. You've got to tear down your own restrictions to experience that inside so that it reflects outside. And I know that can be very confronting to hear. There can be a certain level of aggression that I'm met with because these structures inside of us are survival level structures, and they want to survive. They have defined life as working like 2 + 2 = 4. It makes sense. This is how it is. Concrete. See it, touch it, taste it. And I come from that. I know it very well. But there's a deeper layer to life. And for those who are exhausted of trying to do all the right things, make all the correct moves, and if it hasn't led you to where you actually truly deeply in your heart know that you want to go, I'm just here as a messenger to say where you really want to go in your heart is possible. It wouldn't be there otherwise. But it's about returning to your nature. It's about backtracking from this emphasis on verbal language and correct or incorrect, right or wrong, good or bad, categorizing, and dependency or attachment to outside conditions. It's about coming back into your wholeness, into your power, and operating on a whole different level. For more information, leave a question.